Are you ready to make a big shift? You know that you're being called to maneuver in some way in your life, maybe in a very big way, but also maybe in a small, whispery, soft way. And you're not just quite sure yet how to do that. Even though you're a super successful woman and you've been around, you've lived through tons of things, you're so super strong. And yet you're in this spot of knowing that something needs better alignment, right? Maybe you're even wondering what's next or if there's more for you in your life. And so if that's you, then hi, my name is Jen, the founder and CEO of Laughing Lotus Wellness. And what I do is help really powerful, successful midlife women really lean into their purpose, their creation of legacy. And I absolutely love helping them gain clarity with where they're going and what their full purpose is. So, not the kind of roles and tasks that so many of us associate with it, but actually really defining what your signature is in terms of your purpose, right? Which is something totally different than a lot of what we hear out in mainstream culture. And so the reason that's so important is that it empowers and it uplifts you. It's leaning into all the spaces and places that make you directly who you are. And so it is literally my purpose to help women serve theirs and really create legacy. And so what I want to talk about is how do we make shifts? So if you haven't, last time I did a vlog, I chatted about how do we know we might need one. So you can go back and listen to that if you missed it. And this one is really about like, what do we do and how do we do it? Okay. So the first thing I want to do is talk about, so what can we do? I want to define quickly the definition of shift, not the one that I created from last visit in our vlog, but this time is really like the Webster's Dictionary vibe. Okay. And so lean in, it says here, move or cause to move from one place to another. Makes perfect sense, especially over a small distance. So I really love this idea of a small distance. We're going to circle back to this in a second. The second one is a slight change in position, direction, or tendency. So slight and small. Are you hearing those words? So our shifts can be really big, right? But I really want us to think about the way that we can do them successfully is to take them in small bites, right? It's really about making digestible little small steps and changes and micro adjustments, sometimes rather than biting off everything at one time, which is I think something that we can commonly kind of get lost in. And we're like, oh, I have to do everything all at once and it's this whole big thing. Like, no. Okay, so take small steps. That is one piece that I really wanted you to hear from that definition was I'm going to take and do like little digestible pieces. Second is create a plan for yourself, right? Sometimes when we feel really at loose ends, what can be really powerful is actually going in and creating a plan for ourselves, which sounds really silly. And it might take you 2 minutes to just sit down and say, okay, this is where I'm sitting. These are just a couple small things that I can do, but somehow creating that connection and having a plan of action is so comforting to us, right? Because very commonly, that's one of the first things we're going to go, what action do I need to take, right? So look for that and create yourself just a little plan of action and how you're going to do it. Tapping into accountability and your support. So I think it is so important when you're going through a stage like this to say, hey, where are my people? Who can I count on? I've got this kind of thing that's shuffling around inside my soul. I could really use some support and help. Would you be willing to hold space for me in that? And how can they, and then you have to define for them, how can they hold your feet to the fire? How can they support? Is it a text every so often? Is it a coffee chat? What is it? How can they hold space for you, right? And so it might just be a really simple check-in from time to time and see how you're doing to support that whole journey for you. Okay. So I want you to know you don't graduate from your journey. So I recently had a call with this brilliant woman who is doing a consult call with me to decide if she's going to hire me to coach. And one of the things she said is, how do I know when I'm going to graduate? And I loved this question because I think this is actually really common for so many of us in our cultures to kind of, okay, but when do I like get to the end? When do I get the prize at the end of the whatever, right? How do I get to the end? And I said very clearly, listen, it can either be when your package is done, great, there'll be other options, or might I suggest you understand that there is no graduation? And I don't mean from the work you're doing with me, because I think that with time, we get what we need from someone's bag of tricks. All coaches, mentors, therapists, right? Guides, consultants, we are people that we are going to have our bag of tricks And I don't proclaim to be everybody's bag of tricks, right? What I have to offer may or may not suit you and your needs and where you're going. But what I want you to think is that with time, what that just means is that the next teacher is ready to be in line. The next experience, the next class, the next retreat, the next seminar, whatever it is, I want you to imagine, right, that I don't really see the world as though we graduate from evolution. Because that's really kind of what my work is evolutionary. And so if we look at it and go, yeah, I'm going to be done here. When are you going to be done growing? When are you ever going to be done changing? When are you going to be done transforming? I hope the answer that you have inside your soul that is a resounding scream is never, because you want to continuously be growing and changing, right? Those small shifts are incremental, but equal a gigantic transformation at the end of something, right? And so I invite you to adopt a different mindset about it, right? I'm not going to graduate from something. I'm going to continuously be working, and how and whom and all those parts might shift and change, and that's okay. But then I'm just saying, in this moment, this is a shift I'm ready to commit to making for myself and my well-being. Okay. So huge. And again, I just said it, but redirecting your mindset. Listen, this is one of my very favorites. My coach works on with me pretty regularly. I'm not going to lie. So even though I work with mindset with women all the time, even I will find myself getting blocked by some of my belief systems. Not long ago, I realized that I had one about legacy. It's really funny. I had this whole belief system that legacy happens later. What? I don't even know. I don't even know how I got there. I'm not going to lie. I wish I had some great solid answer for you, but I had to have my own wake up call and be like, no, because my legacy is helping younger women, which means a shift in my business to making sure that I am actually making space for younger women to move into this sooner than I did, right? That's the whole idea. It has definitely been on my heart to do that. And so now I'm definitely leaning in. And as soon as that gate flew open, that door flew open, all sorts of beautiful things started flying in, which is how I knew my shift meant I was coming into greater alignment, because ease started happening and flow started happening, and all the right resources and people and situations and scenarios, all of them started flooding in. That's how we know we're onto something. Okay. So it's a great way to read how we're doing in those shifts, because things will hopefully start to feel like they lessen. They're lighter, it's easier, it's clearer. I love that. To me, it's like always looking for those little cues in your movements to see like, is this it? Okay, it's getting better. I can see that there's something happening here. It feels really good, right? So powerful. So we will have to change the relationship we have with our thoughts from time to time, and know very clearly that's part of your journey. It's part of mine. I do on a regular basis. I have to see how I want to shift my relationship with my thoughts. So we have a relationship with every single thing in our lives, even making shifts. And I need to look at how I'm showing up to that with my mindset. Okay. So that's a huge deal. So focus on your vibration, right? So from the first vlog, we talked about, checking your vibe. And then oftentimes when we really need a shift, we might feel kind of like our battery is really low, right? If we start looking for how my vibration is, I want my vibration, I want my energy to feel big, expansive, open, excited, like full on lean in. Does that make sense? So that's what we're starting to watch, is look at your vibration. How charged does your battery feel, right? And so checking in with yourself, because that's a really great tell for if we need to make a plan or not, but also watching that vibration and taking action, even small incremental action to lift your vibration, will help change things. So if, let's say you're stuck and you're like, Jen, I just don't even know where to start right now. I'm like overwhelmed. This is a spot you can start today. And it's because going in and adjusting your energy, whether it's taking good care of your body, whether it's having a nutritious meal, getting enough rest, meditation, prayer, whatever it is for you, if you start to tap into pulling in beautiful things inside your body, your energy, you're going to shift your vibration. Okay. Maybe it's listening to good tunes. Like I saw someone on social media, great following, and she was like, yeah, when I get in a mood, I just get up and I move my body and I rock out. I love it. I'm like, thank you so much for saying that. It's something sometimes as simple as shifting our vibration that might actually allow us to slide into a different mind space to make a shift. So sometimes that vibration is actually a really beautiful stepping stone to kind of get you launched. Okay. So I love vibrations, everything. You're going to want to bring that into your awareness and work in that a little bit to make those shifts as well. Speaking of meditation, because you all know it's one of my favorites, and if you haven't been around long, then you're welcome. Now you know that meditation is actually one of my specialties, and I absolutely love it. It is absolutely a super learner, meaning it is one of the most potent ways that we can change and shift lots of the layers of what we're made up of. And so speaking of vibration, this is a great way, right? Breath work, meditation, sound healing, all sorts of things and tools are really great resources to like sink into that space of really shifting. And so visualizing the shift you want to make. In this chat, we're talking about visualization, because I want you to go into your mind's eye and I want you to actually see the shift occurring. I want you to imagine what it looks and feels like. I'm going to pull all the details in, because that actually changes things really easily for us as well. So this can increase that vibration, shift the energy, and help us make that move that we need to make, okay? Now, this is a toughie. I'm going to say this and someone's going to be like, because I know it's going to sound like simpler than it is. Trust that it's going to be okay. I'm going to tell you something. Trusting that it's going to be okay is a lifelong journey. And for me in midlife, now listen, this is because I'm almost 50 years old. I am in a different space of, I've lived so much life now that I know that no matter what snag I hit, no matter what bump I'm going over, right? Whatever thing is coming for me, where I'm being called to make a shift, it's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay in the end. And it took me a really long time and some wisdom to have these experiences where I really learned to trust myself, to learn to trust something bigger than myself, whatever for you that is. That could be universe, source, goddess, God, Jesus, whatever your jam is, right? I know that I am being divinely supported. And so I don't have to go, oh my God, I'm on my own. How will I ever figure this out? I don't do that anymore. And I know I had a long time where I tussled with it, if that makes sense. It wasn't that I didn't always have faith, because I did. I had some form of faith, I think, through my whole life. And I have a gigantic dose of hope. I will say, my hope is probably one of my saving graces. It is literally my middle name, actually. I know that sounds like we hear that as a joke, but actually it is my middle name. And I think that it's funny that it's almost like my parents knew that that was going to be something that I was going to be bringing to the world. And so for me, that is one of my greatest gifts. My humor and my hope are like two of my biggest, like, okay, these are my resounding safety nets. And they're the ways that I approach my coaching, my life, every single facet of my world has both of those in it. And so for me, I think there was this mega hope that I had, that something can always be different. It can always be better. We can always make a change. It's exactly what the lotus signifies, right? It's why it's my symbol for my brand. So I definitely believe in that. And I do think that there's something very important in trusting that it's going to be okay. Because if we don't trust, we feel like we're stepping out into right off of an edge of a cliff and we're just going to go down. And the truth is that I don't see our shifts that way. I don't see transformation that way. I don't see lane changes or any part of our lives that way. We are being guided all the time. You are being prepared to step into the next thing every single moment of every single day. So even when something doesn't feel great, it's preparation for the next thing that you're going to need to have that skill and wisdom for. That's totally different than feeling like the world's just taking hits at you, right? That just feels totally different than being shot at. Okay. So I want us to kind of create a different mindset, a way of having a relationship with this that I think is different. I want you to trust it's going to be okay. And that last one is lean into your spiritual practices. Now, listen, I have not talked a lot about this in some of my vlogs because I know that it can make people slightly uncomfortable, but I want to speak to, that's who I am. That's full on transparency. I am a deeply spiritual person. I love meditation and prayer and journaling and every single kind of thing that is raising vibration and changing energy to me. Those are parts of my everyday practice and they are what helped me be successful. So I now couldn't do my life moving forward if I didn't have my spiritual practices. What does that mean to you? Everyone's different. For some, it's a walk out in the woods. For some, it's going to be going and sitting on the edge of the ocean listening to the waves. For some of us, it's going to be singing or chanting. For some, it's going to be doing creative projects like art, right? So painting or coloring or whatever it is for you, right? Putting things together. Maybe you create like sculpture. So it doesn't matter what it is, but leaning into utilizing those resources is actually one of the most powerful tools that we have to make adjustments, okay? So hanging on to those is super important. So listen, if any of this resonates and you're like, listen, Jen, I would love to learn more. I want to step into this powerful space in my life. I want to continue to elevate my purpose and legacy. I invite you ahead to my website. And on my website, there'll be a pop-up and it's going to offer you free gifts. And so I have some tools that I've created to guide you through awareness and growth to support you making your shifts in your life. So go grab those, please. Head on over laughinglotuswellness.com. Grab your free gifts. So my friends, until next time, signing off, sending you blessings, love, and light, and supporting you on making your shifts into purpose and legacy to stand in your most powerful self for your life as a woman. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. So we will see you next time. Take care.